Now, what do we say we were doing with this one? What are we bringing to it with this one? This is a deliberation.
Yes. So the award is giving the award to something or someone or just a party in general about. Sorry, my partner made a direct eye contact with me as I was talking and just threw me completely.
I thought you were going to say that they gave you they flipped you off or something.
No. Giving this award to a reoccurring instance of something that they shouldn't be able to get away with and yet do.
Yes, 100%.
To a
stuff that keeps
publisher,
happening.
Yeah, it just continuously happens.
Do you want to go one, then one, then one, then one, then one?
Well, I've only got two.
Okay, you go.
And some of them are shared. I know for a fact.
I'm sure we're going to double up.
Pokemon, we know, is a big one, right? They continuously release unfinished, ugly games that just perform terribly on the consoles they're released on. And
they're not up to standard.
No. I honestly don't. Look, I know how they pass certification, and it's because the fucking company that owns a third of them owns the platform, right?
Yeah.
Because they know if they say no, then they're saying goodbye to the fastest selling console game of all time.
I was just about to bring that up. What was it? Pokemon Scarlet and Violet sales.
It's the fastest selling first party game of all time. Or something like that.
Like what the hell? That doesn't make any sense. 10 million copies in its first 3 days when it got a 6 from IGN. What? Not that they're the be all end all, but just as one single metric. I'm just saying, this wasn't an Elden Ring. This wasn't the God of War Ragnarok. This wasn't. It was just Pokemon.
Yeah, but just Pokemon is the biggest single intellectual property on the planet.
I guess so. I guess I'm not intellectual enough to understand it.
And we were talking about this a little while ago, on our own friends Discord. But while Disney is the biggest company in the world, the biggest multimedia company across everything they own, they don't own a single one thing that is bigger than Pokemon. Mickey Mouse is not bigger than Pokemon. Star Wars is not bigger than Pokemon. Marvel's not bigger than Pokemon. Altogether, they all are.
Yeah.
But not singular.
Yeah. It's wild. I would never have guessed that. Not that Pokemon isn't huge. It is. But that big is wow. That means it beats out Marvel. It beats out Star Wars. It beats out the individual franchises.
Yes.
All of them. Every single one of them.
Every single one. Bigger than Hello Kitty.
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And it's well, we don't know because they don't really talk about it. But no doubt it's one of the biggest reasons why they keep getting away with this. Because they can just throw money at the problem to get enough done to where it's okay enough to get it out the door.
100%.
And that's it.
Yeah.
I want to be specific here. I was quite happy with Legends Arceus. I know Jeremy, you weren't particularly happy with it. You didn't find it particularly ugly. I thought that game could have been more better executed in terms of its art direction and execution. But it wasn't broken. And it still looks better than Arceus does in a lot of different ways at times.
Sorry, but better than Soul Silver.
Better than Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Scarlet and Violet's got a bit more direction, which is cool.
Kind of.
But it also loads in 12 polygons at one time.
Yeah. I think as time goes on, I think actually Scarlet Violet looks uglier as the days go by. And Arceus looks
the sheen wears off.
I think Arceus is still very ugly, and I hate the style of it, with a passion. But I think it still does look better.
Yeah.
And that came out a year before.
Yeah. Yep. It's so disappointing. These games could be so much more. They could live up to their title. They are living up to the title because it's what's got them there. I know, but I wish the quality was was commensurate with their status.
Since the Pokemon games became 3D, is they started to become bad, badly executed games.
Yeah, Jeremy. That's been more than 9 years since
Yes.
X and Y came out.
Yes, it has been.
They can't keep getting away with this. I think they're going to be our winner for this. But what was your other pick? And I'll give you mine as well.
Sony.
Oh, they weren't on my list, but you're right.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if it's a pick.
Yeah. This year has seen, this year and part of last year, quite a lot of last year, since the PS5.
We're talking about trends.
Yeah, like it's since the Jim Ryan era.
Yeah,
I think is where a lot of this started. We have seen, so like the way I described it in my notes to remember to come back to it is the Sony punishing customers.
Punitive
era.
PlayStation.
Yeah, yes. There's been maybe an air of arrogance, I think is maybe fair to say, around how Sony has been treating themselves. Just a level of like, we are making this.
We are on top.
Like, we are on top. We are making these decisions. These decisions are not you're probably not going to like these decisions. And we
sure are going to pay for them though.
Yeah, and you have made them. This starts with the increase of price of games to $125.
Yep.
And
the selling of remade games at $125.
The selling of remade games with less in them than the initial. You know, while we talk about The Last of Us Remastered, let's not forget that there is no multiplayer in this Last of Us Remastered.
Yeah.
It is just the story, which, you know, that's where most people are going, but also you're charging more for less.
Yeah.
At this moment. Their subscription service being quite lackluster in a lot of ways. You know, the multiple confusing price points, the lack of any form of backwards compatibility for the PS3 era for regions outside of the streaming availability regions.
Lackluster backwards compatibility for PlayStation 1 and 2 offerings, even though they're quite disappointing.
The conversation around Horizon Forbidden West's upgrade path and about how it was initially going to be free because it was initially going to be in the launch window, and then the game delayed out of the launch window, and therefore they were going to start charging $15 or $25, whatever it was, dollars to upgrade from the PS4 to the PS5 version, even though they said it was initially going to be free, but it was only going to be free because it was going to be in the launch window. And then they eventually did cave and say, okay, like, we are going to make this one free for anyone who is on a PS4 to upgrade to the PS5 version, but set it in such a like, but note that this will be the final time this happened. Like, they were telling you off for it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. They're like, don't expect this again.
Yeah.
Or how about when PS Plus came out and some people who had stacked up 3 years of PlayStation Plus standard before the upgrade went live, if they wanted to access the new tiers, they had to upgrade their entire 3-year pledge to that tier, or like just not at all. Yeah. Which was like
$1,000 or something. Yeah, it was something ridiculous.
So messed up. Like, instead of just saying you've paid us this much, this equates to like your 3 years of PlayStation Standard equates to like 1 year of PlayStation Premium. Instead of doing something simple like that, someone had to go in and code it to say, no, that's not possible. You have to pay us $400 now for you to use the service, or just like not.
Yeah.
It was, and they backtracked it, but it was because someone still had to go in there. Someone made the decision to make it like that before they backtracked it.
Yeah. They're a huge company.
Yeah.
They are responsible.
It's so upsetting. Now I don't know what to pick. Mine were not as slam dunk as that compared to PlayStation. The thing I had was like,
Oh yeah, what was your other one?
I had a few. Activision Blizzard King continuing to be shit. I'd love it if they could stop getting away with that, but they're going to, and bloody Bobby Kotick's going to fall out of the plane when he finally can on his gold parachute.
Yep.
This isn't me being angry about it, but this is like, can they keep getting away with this? I don't think they can. Is Xbox not releasing anything?
Eventually, someone's going to trip and accidentally launch a first-party game.
It's just they had one 4-month stint last year, and then it's like they forgot how to do that again, or like it was like the stars aligned, and we get to look forward to that happening once more in 8 years.
Yeah.
And also like the Switch can't keep getting away with having new games released on it. You know what I mean? Like the Switch is struggling, man.
It is. It really is.
But I don't think those quite hold a candle to Sony's attitude and crappy decision making, plus Pokemon's attitude and crappy decision making. I don't know how to choose a winner though, Jeremy. These are hard. And it's because they feel like they come from a very similar place, right?
Money.
We're here. You want our shit. We've made cool shit, and you're going to pay for it.
Look, I think Pokemon will keep getting away with this.
Right.
And I think that there is at least a lot, like, you know, they're not feeling it yet, Sony, I don't think, because they don't need to be feeling it yet. You know, they are still selling a console that people want to buy, and they can't make enough of them yet. So the pressure is not on them yet from Microsoft.
It's true.
To change. But I think, you know, and like there's you know, people can read the hilarious back and forth between Phil Spencer and Jim Ryan via various news outlets. The war of attrition that has been currently happening between these two companies as Jim flies to various countries around the world to try and get you know, various
like agreements and deals.
Well, just various government entities to try and block the purchase, right?
Right.
Because he flew to Brazil to do that, like at some point.
Sorry, Jim Ryan. Sorry.
I
heard Phil Spencer.
Sorry. Yeah, as Jim Ryan flies to different countries to block the deal. I think when that deal, because it'll be a long time. I think we're not.
Yeah, it's been dealt a blow with this like FTC lawsuit.
I still think it'll go through.
Yeah,
I still think that no one was ready for this deal quick enough to stop it from happening. I think there's already too much momentum behind it.
Yeah,
and there's not enough.
I don't know anything about this stuff really in the grand scheme of things, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes through.
Yeah. I think that is when PlayStation will start to feel the heat. Because they will have, you know, like whenever they sign their Call of Duty deal, I'm assuming part of the clause is going to be like no Call of Duty on Game Pass day one. But there will be others. There will be others day one on Game Pass. And it'll stop people from buying it on the PlayStation because they already own it on the Xbox. In air quotations, own it. It's accessible to them. So I don't think Sony can keep getting away with this. Or is that
so that's the question. Like this phrase, if people who don't know, this is a quote from Breaking Bad. This is when, I don't know, from the last season, and because Walt, the main character, he's been getting away with it for years. Well, or a couple of years in the show, but he keeps getting away with it. And someone's at their breaking point and they say he can't keep getting away with it because he has just been getting away with it.
Yeah.
And to that end, I feel like Sony's under threat, and Sony's got so much more at stake than Pokemon does because they're releasing $750 consoles. They're buying studios. Like, they're still stuck in this console cycle. And as much as people don't want to talk about the console wars, when people flunk out, they have to scramble and bring back the goodwill of the consumers, which you saw with the release of the PS3 off the back of the PS2, and you saw with the release of the Xbox One off the back of the Xbox 360. We've spoken about it on this show many times. Yeah. And PlayStation is always at risk of that happening.
Yes.
I feel like Pokemon is more bulletproof in this situation because while they are huge, I feel like they have less at risk in just releasing one bad game.
Yeah,
in
Pokemon.
comparison to Xbox or Sony having a bad console launch. Like that's hundreds of millions of dollars down the drain when that happens.
Yeah, Pokemon are at the top of their game.
Yeah,
They have never been making more
somehow.
money. Yeah, so I think the award has to go to them.
I think so too. Yeah. Pokemon. That topic was a good discussion and a good sort of like, where we're at in the industry. Because I like these topics for sort of like grounding us in what the year has been and what it is like and what to sort of expect from companies going forward and all of that. But that discussion quietly depressed me a good bit.